Call to order. There we go. All right. We'll start out with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Lily and Callie. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Okay, Linda, roll call.
James Randall,
Here.
Dr. Brian Cherry,
Here.
Kristen Cambenzi, James Hewitt,
Here.
Glenn Sarka,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll support.
Got a motion with support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have comments from the public for agenda items. We just have two. We'll have that for later. We have another one at the end. We're now to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Randall. I would like to start by inviting Dr. Kempinen and her team. I'm not sure exactly who is speaking, but Dr. Kempinen, I'll let you decide. Thank you for hosting us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'll start things off and then I'll team welcome to your National Blue Ribbon School. Awesome to say, and we're happy to say among you. Thanks, Superintendent Sedgwick, and thank you, members of our Board of Education, every one of you, for your time and your efforts, and mostly for your support of our superintendent and the direction he's leading all of us at MAPS. Incredible strategic planning teams and committees that are working and ongoing to make substantial changes, not just temporary, but long-lasting. I believe we are the culmination, Grave Red Elementary School, of a last strategic planning cycle and initiative, and I'm most thankful for that. The adoption of MTSS for the next 3 to 5 years and beyond, not just an initiative we're jumping on the bandwagon with, but an actual embedded effort and direction for our district. And dedicating vital district funds and resources to create new positions within our district that support teacher growth and development and change, and allow us to address the devastating impacts of COVID that we've seen in our students socially and emotionally and behaviorally and certainly academically. And all of this, your support, has impacted student growth and learning for the good of all students. I especially want to recognize and thank Dr. Brian Cherry and also Mr. Jamie Randall. As I understand, your time on our board is coming to an end. And we want to thank you for your many years of service and dedication to our district at the board level. We officially give you back your Monday early evenings. And thank you for your leadership. So I have staff members here this evening, which I'd like to introduce to you. And when I call your name, won't you please at least give a wave or stand if you can. So Mrs. Morris Stone, 4th grade, and her 2 lovely daughters who are here this evening. And Mrs. Lori Smolinski, and she is our instructional coach, which you supported with funds, so thank you very much. And next to her is Miss Andrea, 2 away, Andrea Johnston, and she is our Title I teacher here at Grave Red. And Ann Gerard is in between them, and Ann is a 3rd grade teacher. And Ann, I say, is my curious one. I call her my curious one. She always wants to learn more, do more, and know more to help our kids. And in our back row is Katie Augustine, 2nd grade teacher. And next to her is Angela Rayhorn, special ed teacher, and 4th grade teacher Megan Anderson. And I will not overlook introducing who you stole from me, Mr. Sedgwick, Kathleen Stiles, who was our incredible Title I teacher here and is now our amazing district achievement coordinator and doing so many great things with all of our coaches. You know, what we want to share with you tonight is what does MTSS look like here at Gray Verret? You know, you gave us the bucks, so we hope we give you some bang for your bucks because we're just starting out with this and we're super excited about it. But Kathleen at the helm of all of that as a leader, we're super proud for her and thankful for all that she has done and will do with our teachers and our principals and helping us all grow for the sake of kids. The first PowerPoint we have up is what does it look like? And it was really quick, and I'm just going to click through it because it represents the initiatives that we have put in place. We were proud of the work we did starting 8.5 years ago when we came together as a school improvement team and really worried about the whole child. And what I love most about MTSS is it really embraces that, and it pushes us all to meet the needs of all children in a holistic way. So some of the things that we have put in place here at Gray Verret, and I'll kind of go quickly through them, but I think my slideshow was a little fast. So we have a peer-to-peer program. It's all about kids helping kids. And a lot of this program is geared at kids with, I'm going to go down like, you know, I feel like I'm in church because nobody's in the front pew and I'm on my knees, but it's just logistics that I have to do this for. These are special ed kids helping to support special ed kids in our building. It's an incredible program. And another program we have here, yeah, they get to have ice cream and an end of the year fun party. Another program we're super proud of is we've started embedding and spending some money training our aides so that they can be better help to the students they work with, our instructional program aides. And one of our occupational therapists, Emily Skellinger, did an amazing sensory strategy PD on Halloween. Those are my aides. That's not really what they look like from working with our kids. That's just, it was a dress-up day on Halloween, and they make our building so much fun. And she did an amazing job offering ideas and strategies that aides can use immediately when working with kiddos. And these were specifically aimed at the inner ear and balance and their sense of touch and that aspect of kids who sometimes have sensory overload. Another great thing that occurred is we're piloting FastBridge. And so we came up with this A-team, spearheaded again by Mrs. Stiles, and it involved all our coaches, and our coaches blitzed all our buildings and assessed using FastBridge the JKK 1, 2, and were we 3 too? Did we do 3? And it has been incredible. So this is our coach, Lori, with kiddos, and that lady whose head is at the foreground is a Northern student because we host 3 Northern Methods classes here in our building each semester. And so they got to Goldfish Bowl and watch these assessments. It's so much better than anything they would learn in a book at Northern. It's just amazing. And it's a win-win for our building and for, obviously, they're learning how things are done at an elementary school. So this is Coach Amy Pruner helping our students with assessments, FastBridge, and NMU students are looking on, and this is Terry Tamelin. And, you know, they went to every building, and they did this amazing assessment of all students at the elementary level. And the exciting thing about that FastBridge assessment is it gives us such remarkable in-depth data, and then also next steps. What do we do? How long should we focus on an intervention to help kids learn to read? And then an assessment to see if they really met the goals that they were supposed to. And there's your one and only achievement coordinator, stole her from me, Mr. Sedgwick. Did I happen to mention that? Kathleen Stiles, spearheading, we miss you, Kathleen, spearheading the assessments for all of us, and Northern students looking on. Another great thing that Mrs. Augustine, who's in the audience, give away Mrs. Augustine, implemented for our kids is an interest fair. The interest fair is open to all students who are at any grade level who are curious about anything. And it might have been the old science fair, but it's not required. It's just this natural inquiry that Mrs. Augustine kind of develops in kids. And what are you interested in? And what would you like to learn more about? And then we have this interest fair in our gymnasium. And it's just so cool. These little kiddos come. You can see dressed. Somebody studied South Korea because that was her ethnicity. And she came in a native costume, and it was amazing. And there's no pressure. And kids study everything and anything that they're interested in. And then they become the little regional expert. And you can ask them questions at our fair. Tell me what you studied. What have you learned? And this big kid is my favorite interest fair student. And I just wondered, what was he learning and what was he studying? I think that was pandemic days, Zach, but I couldn't resist. Interest fair or fair interest? I don't know. You tell me. And an amazing thing happened this year through the growth and work of our coach. People got curious here about vocabulary and wondered, what could we do? Because are we doing enough? And are we doing it the right way? And should we be doing it a different way? And our coach and my inquisitive one, Ann Gerard, were having conversations and wondered and decided maybe we should have a book club. And so this is our group who meets at the Crib. And I joined that group too. They let me join it, which I felt really honored to be a part of. And we're studying bringing words to life. But when we had our first meeting, I said to Mrs. Smolinski, I don't know where the Crib is. Where's the Crib? And she's like, oh, it's on 3rd Street. I'm like, well, in my day, that sounded like something pretty rock and roll and something else. And it's a really nice coffee shop on 3rd Street. So that's our book study. And this is one of the most amazing things that is going on. When you talk about embedding change to make a substantial difference, we have 9 teachers who are volunteering their time, and this is a 2-year commitment in a training called LETRS, and it focuses on how to teach children to read, and it's some of the latest research. And these people have just volunteered their time, taken on the 2-year commitment. I have 2 out of the 9 who will begin and be in the 4th cohort in January 23. But if you're in cohort, are you guys in 1 or 2? Just raise your hand, give a raise of hand. Who's in that cohort? Look at this. And there's more. There's 9 of my staff. That's almost 50% of my staff just giving her because it's what they do, because they know it's good for kids. And I'm so proud of all of you for being a part of that. And as we begin to understand MTSS more and more, our building leadership team had a terrific meeting the week before Thanksgiving, and we're following agendas and using protocols that many of us in strategic planning have experienced. And we're starting to look at work of the past, and we did a gallery walk and looked at some of the amazing work we have done, and we're making plans for the future. What will be right for this building next for the sake of all kids, whether that's socially, emotionally, academically, or behaviorally. And also this team does a really fabulous job of being mindful of our school culture and having fun days and days that we celebrate together as a school. And another amazing thing that's going on here in the name of MTSS and literacy and learning is we started an all-school read-in, readathon last year. And Mrs. Smolinski was very instrumental in that, along with Mrs. Elizabeth Carr, our library aide. And so a readathon, and we're in the midst of it, aren't we? Yeah, we're in the midst of our readathon, is where parents and families can go online and pledge to support our school for their children, whether they could read one book, if they're just a beginner, or maybe they read many words, or maybe they read many books. And it benefits our school and our school library. And we celebrated last year. I don't know if you can see the little fireplace in the corner, but Zach purchased us all fireplaces for our classrooms the day before winter break so we could have hot chocolate and stockings and by the chimney with care in hopes that, St. Nicholas would be there. So Mrs. Carr and her husband made all those cardboard, almost lifelike fireplaces, and every classroom has one, and every child has a stocking, and it will hang by the fireplace, and then we'll have hot chocolate, and they come in their jammies, and sometimes we do too, and we spend that morning together reading. It's called the Readathon, celebrating the Readathon. And we have a goal, and last year our goal was as a school to read 100,000 minutes, and we chart progress on the door, and if you came in the hallway, you'll see 2 gift baskets out there today, and those are incentives. There's a K2 gift basket and a 3-5 gift basket for the most whatever read, and I'm sure there'll be a drawing, so that'll be somewhat equitable. But this is what that readathon school reading looks like. So we just celebrate reading on a day before a holiday, and they're in their jammies, and we do fun things. And one of the greatest things you've done for us this year is given us an instructional coach. And she's provided professional development to our staff and will continue to do so. And it's collective efficacy that's happening. There are conversations across grade levels. There's deep conversations, not from an evaluative standpoint like what I have to do, but real deep conversations about instruction and what you're doing in learning and growing students, all for the sake of our kids. And that's one thing you funded with, your resources. And I believe that it is the biggest game changer that you have put in place for us. Teachers overlapping, having grade level conversations, and Mrs. Smolinski will spend more time talking about that, about what's going on at your grade level, what do you need from me, what do you need from the next grade level. And it's all creating a greater understanding among all of us here in this building as far as what you're doing. And of course we have our STARS student behavior, positive behavior program, where we draw names of STAR students each Friday and give them gift bags. And this is our safety first, teamwork, always respectful, responsible, and we stay positive. We're the Comets, but we say we're shining stars among the Comets. When we started 8.5 years ago, I was looking and wanting to change the mascot or something of our school, or what was the name of Grave Red, and it was the Comets. And I couldn't not honor that because this building has been around for so long and so important. So we say we're stars among the Comets. And then another great thing that goes on, and you might have heard about it, and if you haven't, come back and join us when we celebrate, is our One School, One Book epic event that goes on for multiple months. Usually it was the month of March. COVID kind of derailed all of that, so last year we decided to start it in March and ended in April. But mystery book, this was last year. Can you tell what book it is? Shh, don't say if you know. What is that? That was in the hallway right across from where you are. Look at those things, and children are just wondering, what could the book be? What could the book be? And some child, yeah, you can guess who, climbed right in that little thing right there, closed the doors. And we hold an all-school assembly and reveal what book it is. And some of these people sitting here from my staff have Oscar awards for their performances as they've introduced the characters of books. Multiple Oscars on their mantel shelves. And imagine this, Mrs. Smolinski's love of reading, that instructional coach you gave us, reads to the entire school, introducing One School, One Book last year, an entire chapter of the book, and they sit silently and listen. It's amazing. And another program we have is called Check In, Check Out. And it occurs sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes after school. And it's where a child is paired with a staff member, all staff members, not just teachers. And we try to set them up for success in their day. And some of our students are at risk, but some are just students who we check in and check out with. This lady at the foreground happens to be my check-in, check-out student who was super shy and Didn't do a lot of talking, but she's my check-in, check-out buddy again this year. Now we're reading books together, and it is amazing. The courage this little girl has now to speak in front of classrooms is amazing. That's what MTSS looks like behind the scenes. And now I'll let Lori and Andrea tell you what's really going on in this building.
Thanks, Dr. K, for giving us kind of a highlights reel of all the things that we've been working on at Grave Rat. Andrea and I have a much more pinpointed story to tell about some of the work that we've been doing as a staff this year. So 3 times a year, students at MAPS take the NWA. That's our district screening tool. And we did that also this year. And then we sit down at grade levels and we have conversations about the data. I also knew a little more about our district data as far as math and some of the concerns that we had about math achievement district-wide. And so as we met at the grade level, we talked about math in particular and how we have the scores for the NWEA, but we lacked more in-depth information about what our students knew and didn't know as far as math. And we decided we needed to do some digging deeper assessments. We're really good at doing that for reading. We know who's struggling in reading. We know exactly what is wrong. We know where to go and what direction to take to fix it. Math is a little more of a gray area for us. We know who's struggling, but we don't necessarily always know exactly what is happening to target the intervention. So we decided we wanted to look a little more deeply at that. And so we chose a few different digging deeper assessments depending on the grade level. So on the left-hand side of the screen is the early number words and numerals assessment that we use for first grade. And it looks at counting skills, number sense, being able to count forward and backwards, and some of that basic stuff that we need kindergarten, first grade, and second graders to know in order to do more heavy-duty math. And then for some of the older grades, we use the tool for math expressions, which is our math curriculum. And it's called the prerequisite skills test. It's designed to be given in the fall, and it looks at the skills for the previous grade. So this one is the first page from the 3rd grade test. It assesses the 2nd grade Common Core standards, so you can identify where there are gaps in skills from the previous year for the kids coming in. So we administered that depending on the grade level to get more information. So that is Mrs. Gerard and I. Mrs. Gerard is a 3rd grade teacher, and yes, we're all in various states of costumes and dismantled costumes. It's not our best, but it's real. So Anne brought me her prerequisite skills test, and she's like, look at this. And we saw lots of places where her students were collectively not able to do those 2nd grade skills. So we started talking about it and looking a little more deeply. And she was able to group a good chunk of those kids into children who looked like they maybe just needed a review. They pretty much had it, but it wasn't fresh in their memory. And yep, we can do a quick revisit of that skill and we think they're going to be good to go. Then there was another group of kids who looked like they, based on the errors they were making, we thought needed probably more targeted intervention in that area. So that was good stuff, good conversation. But then she says to me, you know, I love this, but I don't think it's the most valuable thing that I need to know. And I'm, you know, what do you need? And she grabs the bird marker and she starts writing. So on the right is her list. She said, if my students came into third grade knowing how to do these skills, we'd be set. I could teach them everything they needed to know in third grade, and I'd feel like they had a really good handle on it. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting, because before I was the instructional coach, I was a second grade teacher. So then I was looking at that list and going, huh. We teach those skills, but I would not say most of those were the most important things that I taught in second grade. And so I said, but subtracting isn't on there. Because in second grade, we teach kids how to subtract really big numbers. That's like the big major math concept. And she's like, they all can subtract. But you know what they can't do is they can't say 10 more, 10 less. Or they can't use skip counting to do mental math. And I was like, oh. It was really eye-opening. And then on the left, she goes farther, and we start talking about arrays. And that is just like a record of our whole conversation about math and math skills. So then she left, and I started thinking about what that might look like at other grades. So then this video clip is Anne and I reflecting on that conversation. What we did is we worked in our PLCs, so our regular grade level meetings, to develop this list, this must-have list of math concepts from the teacher's perspectives about what they would like students coming into their grade to already know how to do. And we have a first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth and fifth grade. So these were developed by the classroom teachers based on their experience with the math curriculum and the students at their grade level. And what we did was we did this at PLC time, and then at our October professional development day, we had cross grade level conversations. So they met as a grade level team to discuss the skills, and then they met on this PD day across the grade level. So kindergarten and first grade met, then first and second grade up through the grade levels to discuss the trends that they saw that were apparent across all the grade levels, also to ask questions and get clarification about what people meant. And what we saw is that there were some really clear trends that we collectively felt we could improve on in our math instruction. We determined that our children needed more practice with counting routines and number sense, where numbers exist on the number line at the early grades. We identified the need for a more consistent math vocabulary. For example, in kindergarten, they call something a tiny tumbler. In first grade, they call it a partner. And in second grade, we call it an addend. It's the same thing, and we should be calling it the same thing. So that all started to come to light. We also learned a lot about fact families, and that we teach things about fact families in every grade, but nobody felt like the children were mastering that skill and knowing how to use that to solve problems. So these conversations that we had over the course of several weeks really highlighted for us places that we wanted to work as far as our math instruction. So one of the things that we are doing in our PLCs now is we're starting to develop some mapping. So this one on the left is our map for counting skills by grade. And the first column with the grade levels in bold are the Common Core standards relating to counting. And then in the column to the immediate right of those are the things that we are noticing that they need in addition. So for example, in second grade, the Common Core standard suggests that the children learn to skip count by fives, tens, and hundreds. But talking to the third grade teachers, we learned that what they actually need is it's not 50, 60, 70. They need to also be able to count 52, 62, 72, and the role that plays in mental math and adding and subtracting. And so just knowing that allows the second grade teachers then to tweak their instruction and provide extra practice in that skill. And then we're going through on the right, this is from Math Expressions. Math Expressions highlights some of the critical concepts, in their opinion, the standards that are the major work of the grade. So we're taking what we're noticing about our students and lining that up with the Math Expressions recommendations so we can be more effective in what we're teaching for math. And so Andrea is a math recovery trained teacher now, and she has been working at the title level to do some additional things, and she's going to tell you about those.
One of the really cool things about being a title teacher is you get to see a student's trajectory from kindergarten up to fifth grade. But sometimes it gives you this panicky feeling when you see the curriculum marching forward and you're like, oh, these kids aren't getting it. We need to have more time to hit these math foundational skills. And I'm so excited about the work that's happening right now. I used to have individual conversations with all the teachers about what we could do and changes we could make to target intervention in the classroom and in title. And now we have Lori, and she's helping us have those conversations across the whole school so that the title teacher isn't the only one that's seeing that trajectory. It's everybody, and we're working collectively to make sure that we are filling in these holes so that as the kids progress, they have what they need in math. One of the things that I think happens with the way we were taught math is there was just one way to do it. You sit down and this is how you do it. We're told how to do it. But now research is showing us that kids need time to have some autonomy over how they learn math. If we tell them this is how you do it, they might sit down and they might be able to do that. But at a certain point, that starts to fall off. They start to feel frustrated. They lose engagement in math, and we lose a lot of kids' interest in math. But when they have the time to come to that understanding in their own way, they take it in and it sticks with them, and it builds their confidence through the years. So this is an example of one of my lessons in title where I'm giving students a chance to take some ownership over how they learn multiplication. They're building repeated groups, and they have to, I have a number line up on the board, it's really hard to see, but they build their own groups, and they have to plot the answer up on the board, they have to write a math sentence, and they have to do a quick array to show another way that they came up with the answer. The best part about this video is that I am kind of in the background. It is very student-centered. There are a lot of math conversations happening, and students are coming to some math discoveries on their own. And I help to reinforce those, but they came to those on their own. And the little girl with the dark hair over, let's see, on my left, she made a discovery during this lesson, and I have since seen her come back to that over and over and over again. So it's there. She came to it on her own. It's there, and she's using it. So, anyway, yeah.
We just wanted to kind of highlight the work that we've been doing this fall. It's different for me to go from a classroom to this, but it's also really exciting because I can see these are conversations I would have had with my colleagues in the hallway, but now we have time and space dedicated to do it, and I think that we're going to see the impact on our kids' learning pretty quickly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lori, and thank you, Andrea. We have one more small piece that we really believe, and I know we've taken so much time, I apologize. We think this really sums up the social emotional aspect of MTSS. And it's a little video, and it's an incredible piece that was created by Mrs. Kruhawk. She is our PE, technology, and SEL teacher. She created this along with her first graders in Mrs. Nicholas's classroom. This work with these children so beautifully blends her SEL class with her technology, beginning technology skills that she teaches them. And I'm going to pull up the video, and we believe it's a perfect ending for our presentation and a reminder for all of us, whether in a school or a classroom, in a central office, on a bus, or in the cafeteria, or perhaps on a sports field, or in a library, or even serving time as an elected official like yourselves, our MAPS board members. It's a perfect reminder for us all that all kids matter and all kids need and deserve to be met where they are, encouraged and challenged to grow into incredible individuals, because each and every one of them and us matters. So I'll pull that video up. The audio isn't so great, but I think this will deeply touch your heart. So these little slides were created by the first graders, and the video of their picture gets a little distorted, but the message is really deeply moving. That's what you've given us. So thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Kempinen, Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Selinsky, all the Graverette staff for coming. I've made a habit of letting staff leave after their presentations, but I have a very short agenda, so if you want to stay, it's up to you. But anyway, this is your green light, so you better make your move.
Can I ask him a question? Did you share this with other elementaries? Your math stuff?
We've had some coaching conversations with them, yeah.
Yeah, because that's really progressive. That's really a good thing.
One of the great things about the coaches is that they meet as a district team with Kathleen regularly, so they are able to have those district-wide conversations about what's working. So, yeah. Just a couple of items from me, and then just one item or a couple things from Mr. Lampman. First, I'm proposing the board consider approving merit pay. We do this every year, payable on December 2nd, and that would include an increase from $140 to $145 for teachers rated highly effective, and an increase from $70 to $72.50 for teachers rated effective. Again, payable on December 2nd, an annual action item, but one that I wanted to make sure I bring to your attention. Also, I'm in light of our staff's efforts to address the challenges of catching our students up after the impact of COVID-19, much like you just saw demonstrated by our Graveret staff, I'd ask the board to consider providing each of our employees a $500 stipend payable on December 16th of this year. I'm hoping this gesture helps our staff understand just how much they're appreciated, particularly in light of not just COVID, but some of the unique circumstances this year that I think is impacting all of our staff. So this would be all staff, with the exception of Mr. Lampman and myself. Sorry, Jim. It would be prorated, $500 prorated by FTE. However, we would, for anyone 0.75 FTE, that's our formula for essentially for proration or much of our calculations for staffing. 0.7 FTE or above would receive the full 500, but again, otherwise it'd be prorated based on their FTE. The payout would be for anybody employed as of today. We had a couple scenarios we grappled with as far as how to make this as equitable as possible, and we chose to essentially mimic how we just chose to choose a date and time, and that date would be today pending your approval. And this would also include some of our long-term subs and some of our more consistent roving subs. Administratively, we would find a way to make that determination. Total cost of MAPS would be approximately $300,000, since you have to include some of the benefits and retirement that are part of our calculation. So that's the two items I would like to pose to the board for consideration, and then I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Lampman for the last part of the superintendent report for a few items he wants to address.
Thank you, Mr. Sedgwick. Let's see if that's working. There are just a few items I'd like to update the board on. The first being, I'd like to introduce Jeff Lasich, who is our new business manager. Today is his first day. So I thought I'd trot him out here like a show pony and in front of the board and welcome him to the district. Just a little bit of information about Jeff. He is a 1998 graduate of MAPS, so he's kind of come home. Jeff graduated from Northern Michigan University. From there, he went on to public accounting. He spent 8 years in the local area working for a CPA firm. I should mention he is a CPA. And in his time with the local CPA firm, he did work on the audit team for Market Area Public Schools during his career. He spent 8 years in public accounting before going on to government, where he worked as a business manager for Negaunee Public Schools for the past 8 years. So we did steal him away from a local district. I'm sure Negaunee is not thrilled with us, but we're lucky to have him. A couple other things. We had initially planned on having the audit presentation this evening, but there was a question as to whether we would have the IT capability on site here. And we only had one board member be available at our appropriations committee. And as such, we decided we would move the audit presentation to the December meeting. So we'll be bringing that next month. And I should mention that would be done via Zoom, so that's why the IT component was important. Also, due to recent staffing changes that we've had in our central office, normally we would have a December budget amendment, but we'll be bringing that to the January meeting this year. So, yeah, so a couple of you are going to miss a wonderful presentation, but it is open to the public, so feel free to come and participate. But I just wanted to update the board on those items, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, on to the consent agenda. That will include the minutes of the regular board meeting of October 17th, the minutes of the work session of November 2nd, personnel report dated in November, the financial reports of October. Need a motion to
I'll
approve it.
make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll support.
Got a motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll go on to board committee reports. From Lily and Callie.
Hi, so we're obviously from the high school, and I'm sure all familiar with Rock the Sox, and this year we're partnering with the alternative high school, and I think it's the second week of December. We are dedicating that week to bringing socks every single day, and we're gonna have the basketball varsity game and the hockey game where you wear crazy socks, but you also donate socks, and we have talked about how socks are like the most wanted thing, but they're the least donated. So we're trying to change that this year as a school, and yeah. And then a few of us, the first week of every month we attend mental health summits, and that's been an ongoing conversation we have at our meetings to obviously talk about that. And we recently, our past meeting, we have been talking about making school more fun and what we can do to, most of us want to, sorry. We have been talking about, like, oh gosh. Okay, sorry. One of our new things we're doing this year is we're trying to do a Christmas assembly, and we haven't done that at the high school in I don't think many years, and we're gonna try and do that this year, which is a new thing that we'll have that will be really fun because we don't get many of those, but other than that, nothing too much else. But yeah.
Thank you. That's good. Okay. New business. Need a motion to consider the merit pay as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the merit pay for $145 for highly effective teachers and $72.50 for effective teachers.
I'll support.
Okay, I have a motion and support. Any discussion?
I will be abstaining. Conflict of interest.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we need a motion to consider the stipend as presented.
I will make a motion to approve the $500 stipend as presented by the superintendent.
I will support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any discussion?
Abstaining again.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, now, we have two presenters for comments from the public. One, we have Leora Tedgerson. Hi.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and thank you. My name is Leora Tadgerson, and I'm here just to read a letter on behalf of the acting Sioux Tribe chairman, Austin Mose. Unfortunately, he can't make it right now. They have a wonderful trip coming up. The tribes are going to visit with President Biden on the 30th, so it's a pretty good reason not to be here tonight. And I would love any kind of comments afterwards from Austin's letter. Marquette Area Public School Board. With great regret, my schedule did not allow me to attend this school board meeting in person. I will therefore defer to Tribal Liaison Ms. Wapaganique Leora Tadgerson to read my position on the Marquette Senior High School's continued use of the term Redmen as their nickname. To begin, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Austin Mose. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Sioux Tribe Chippewa Indians with full chairperson duties delegated to me. With roughly 50,000 members, the Sioux Tribe is the largest federally recognized tribe east of the Mississippi River. I'm also the Vice President of United Tribes of Michigan, which is an organization comprised of leaders from each of the 12 federally recognized tribes within the state of Michigan. In addition to this, I'm a mental health clinician with experience providing behavioral health services to many diverse populations. I am opposed to the term Redmen being used as a school nickname for the Marquette Area Public Schools. The word Redmen is a racial slur that was used to dehumanize Native American people. It is a throwback to an era where Native Americans couldn't vote, where our youth were sent to boarding schools to face unspeakable trauma, and when the federal government put official bounty proclamations on the bodies, then scalps of our men, women, and children to advance their termination policies. The words redskin and redmen need to be a relic of the past, tossed in the wastebasket of history. Instead, it has been continued to be stubbornly used by schools under the guise of honoring Indians. Make no mistake, this word does not honor Native American people any more than slurs like yellow skins, black skins, and brown skins would honor other minorities. On the contrary, words like that wouldn't be tolerated, and neither should the word redskins. The United States Commission on Civil Rights, by resolution dated April 13, 2001, called for an end to use the American Indian images and team names by schools. Schools should not use their influence to perpetuate misrepresentations of any culture of people. Stereotypes of American Indians teach all students that the stereotyping of minority groups is acceptable, a dangerous lesson in such a diverse society. The resolution from the Michigan State Board of Education titled Use of American Indian Mascots, Nicknames, and Logos resolves that the Michigan State Board of Education supports and strongly recommends the elimination of Indian mascots, nicknames, logos, fight songs, insignias, antics, and team descriptors by all Michigan schools. I respectfully ask that the school board remove the word Redmen from MAP's nickname. It is a hurtful word that perpetuates racial stereotypes and cultural misappropriation, damages the mental health and self-esteem of Indigenous children, and creates a negative learning environment for all children. Chimiigwech, thank you very much. Austin Mose, Acting Chairman of Sioux Tribe of Chippewa Indians. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
He's not gonna be there. That was it.
He's not here?
No, that was the one she was reading.
No, this is Rodney. No, this is a different one.
Was that
That's
Rodney?
right. Rod.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh. All right, we have gifts and bequests. We have a donation from the Coffin Foundation of $5,000 for the Coats for Kids program, which is something they do every year, and I think that's more than they've donated before.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, we have board member comments. Start with Ms. Ray.
Sorry, I'm a little at a loss for words at the moment. Thank you all for what you've done and are doing for our children. I greatly appreciate that. In lieu of hearing this substantial work we're doing for MTSS and the whole child and the social well-being, mental, emotional health that we're struggling with across the board and that we are looking at with MTSS gives me hope. Our mental health task force within our community gives me hope. And yet, we just heard from a letter from someone, a tribal leader, asking us to remove a nickname that continues to harm all children in my eyes. And I'm without words that this continues to be a discussion that we have when our tribal leaders and the Native American community. There may be some who don't agree with the removal of this name, but many of them are asking us over and over again. There are letters that we have received and that have been written by them, and I'm at a loss for words that we're still here and they're still asking us, and I appreciate you and thank you for coming, Leora. And yes, you know, the United Tribes of Michigan, the Michigan State Board of Education have asked us to remove these. The National Congress of American Indians, these are sovereign nations and they're asking us this. We need to listen. And the one thing I'm learning over and over again, because I did not have a point of reference for this and this nickname, but what I'm learning within our mental health task force and the beautiful book that the woman facilitating it has written is to actively listen and to understand where each one of us comes from and what that story is. And it's time. It's just time. So thank you. I appreciate it. I love being here. I love seeing all that you're doing. And every child does matter. Thank you.
Dr. Jerry?
Dr. K, thank you for everything. I appreciate the kind words. My godson goes to Grave Ret and he loves it, and his parents are always bragging on everything that you guys do. So that's pretty high praise, in my opinion, coming from him. So I appreciate everything you guys do. So thank you very much, and we appreciate you hosting us tonight. Thanks.
Okay, Mrs. Clip? Jim?
Just Dr. K and all Grave Ret staff, thank you very much. And like Dr. Cherry, you guys know how much my wife and I appreciate everything you do for all of our students, including our children. So thank you.
Okay, that leaves me. Thank you for all you're doing here. It's amazing. It's why you're Blue Ribbon School. The math thing is fabulous. That's again, I'm hoping that that will be something that we do in all the elementaries. The idea of collaborating is fantastic. So anyway, thank you for inviting us here, and we appreciate all you people that showed up, and that's all I have to say. Announcements and other meetings. We have December 5th is a personal development day. It's a half day for students. On December 19th, we have a regular board meeting in the MSHS library at 5:30. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.